Alexa. Right? You're gonna be with Alexa. Yeah. All right, she's our youngest one. Okay, you're gonna meet her. I won't tell you her name, okay? Did I say Alexa already? Oh my gosh, okay, all right, I'll try, okay?
Hi, I'm Alexa Rosatsky. I'm 11 years old, and I go to Adams Middle School. I'm in 6th grade. I have been doing water guards since last year when it first started, and I met Romy, and she was one of my favorite instructors and one of my favorite swim teachers, and she just gave me a great experience at water guards, and I had lots of fun. We swam around the pier a couple of times. First I was scared and I was really nervous, but eventually I kept pushing through and I kept going, and now swimming is one of my favorite things to do. Yeah. Now I'm going to introduce one of our speakers. Carly Miller is a marathon swimmer and a swim coach living in Los Angeles, California. Swimming was her first love, and she grew up in the pool competing on local age group and high school teams back on the East Coast. Her high school swim coach was a big positive influencer on her, and one of the reasons why she would eventually transition into swim coaching and instruction as a full-time career in 2016. Currently, Carly is the head coach of the open water program for West Hollywood Aquatics, a local master swim team. She is the head varsity and JV swim coach at the Notre Dame Academy in Culver City. Carly also runs a private coaching business where she works with children and adults of all ages and abilities, from kids and adults learning how to swim with people, training for national meets, triathlons, open water, and marathon swims. Carly started to swim again herself in 2015 after about 20 years of staying mostly on dry land. In September 2016, she started to swim her first mile in the ocean, but something about the open water kept her coming back.
Almost 2 years later to the day, in September 2018, she swam 12.2 miles in the Santa Barbara Channel from Anacapa to Oxnard. In 2019, she swam the width of Lake Tahoe and the Catalina Channel. And in 2020, she trained through the pandemic closures to complete the length of Lake Tahoe, and swims around Manhattan and Coronado. That year, she became the 18th person to complete the California Triple Crown of open water swimming, a feat which she dedicated to her mother Emily, who lost her battle with cancer in 2005. In 2021, Carly became the 6th person ever to swim the 27-mile width of Santa Monica Bay from Point Dume in Malibu to Rocky Point in Palos Verdes. From 2018 to 2021, Carly used her swims to raise more than $25,000 for the nonprofit organization Force, which supports families facing hereditary cancer. In 2022, she planned a 3-day, 36-mile coastline swim of Santa Monica Bay and raised nearly $17,000 for Heal the Bay. More swims and fundraisers are currently in the works as Carly hopes to swim many more channels and raise countless more dollars in the years to come while inspiring another generation of young swimmers. Give it up for Carly.
I was gonna say, those of you who know me know that I swear a little bit, and Romy specifically asked me to do that. You can blame her for that. I don't know anyone who's super comfortable with public speaking, so I made some notes, but I'm Carly. I was born and raised on the East Coast, and like the introduction said, swimming was my first love. I grew up swimming on age group YMCA, JCC teams, and then I swam for my high school team. My high school coach was a huge influence on me, and I was just telling one of the kids here before we started that I was never the fastest or the best swimmer, but I did work really hard. So yeah, I mean, I didn't think I was that good in high school, so I didn't plan to swim in college, and no one kind of presented options to me like, oh, you would be good enough to swim at Division III, or I mean, this was also the mid-90s. I don't know how popular open water was, especially on the East Coast. It didn't even enter my like frame of mind until like 15 years after I moved to California. So yeah, I mean, basically I took like 20 years out of the water after I graduated high school. I was doing college and working and all of those things, and during that time my mom was really sick and she passed away. And that was a devastating event in my life, and I feel like it totally derailed me. I struggled with anxiety, depression, and various like substance abuse issues. And my husband and I, we were together for many years, but when we got married in 2015, something in my brain changed, and I was on a lot of psychiatric medication for my depression and anxiety, and I decided to just stop all that. Not that I'm advocating anyone do that, but I decided to stop all that. And like a couple months later, I started to come out of that kind of coma that I had been in for probably like a decade, and I felt like I wanted to go swimming. So I went to the pool, and I just started swimming in the pool, like swimming 20 minutes, then swimming 30 minutes, swimming a mile, swimming 2 miles, swimming 3 miles. And I got up to the point where I was swimming about 6 miles in the pool, doing some 10Ks in the pool, and I started to think about the ocean. Like, what if I went to the ocean to swim? This was like 2015, and I didn't know anything about ocean swimming. I definitely knew that I didn't want to do triathlon. I knew that I didn't like running, I didn't like cycling, I didn't like to exercise on land, and I didn't know anything. I didn't even know that marathon swimming was a thing, or that people did open water swimming outside of triathlon. So like a year after I got back in the pool, it's like summer 2016, I like found a group online, and I was like, decided I'm gonna show up one Sunday morning at Manhattan Beach Pier. And I showed up and I walked up to some random people, like, oh, are you the people I emailed? Absolutely not. Who are you? You know? I'm like, I'm gonna try to do this. And they're like, okay, we're gonna run down a mile, and I stopped listening. I was like, okay, when I get there, I don't know what's gonna happen, but they're like, yeah, we're gonna run down a mile and then we're gonna get in and swim back. And I got down there and they were gone. They were nowhere to be found, and I'm like, I guess I'm doing this by myself, because I know I'm not running back to the pier. So I went in and I thought I was gonna die, literally. I tell this story that I got left by triathletes to die in the ocean, and that was pretty much what happened. I made it. It was like, you know, between Manhattan and Hermosa Piers, I made it to Manhattan Pier. It was like the movies. You're like, oh my God, land, I made it. You know, I'm walking up the beach, and some big, tall guy's walking toward me, and he's like, I had trauma written all over my face. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I think I almost just died out there. And he was like, well, I'm like, these people, I met them and then they left me to die. He's like, come back and swim with us next week. We're much nicer. So I did. And these people are now my family. Most of them are here in this room. And I think a lot of what you do in this world and the success that we have in this world depends on who we surround ourselves with. And I was lucky to find a group of people that were really supportive of me and really interested in what I was going to possibly do, and maybe opened up my eyes to what else was out there. There was a person in this group who had attempted to swim the English Channel, and I was like, oh my God, that's like a thing? Okay, so I started reading books, you know, and reading things about marathon swimming, and the next year I did a 6-mile ocean swim, and I, you know, sort of said to someone that was there, do you think I can swim 10 miles? And he was like, of course. So I recruited Danny, one of the guys from my swim group, and said, would you paddle next to me if I decided to do a 10-mile swim? And he reluctantly said yes, and that swim was a disaster. I mean, you can ask him. It was like, I didn't know what I was doing, and it was really challenging. I tried to jump from 6 to 10 miles, and I would never advocate doing that again. But the point is, like 2 years, you know, to the day after the first, whatever, half-mile ocean swim where I thought I was gonna die, I swam Anacapa. I think that for me, getting back into swimming definitely saved my life. The ocean itself, I really believe that it has healing powers, and it was like the more time I spent out there, the better I felt. So I just felt like the longer I swam every day, the better I felt. So I was gonna try and build that into my life somehow. And I guess marathon swimming sounded like a good way to do it. As I said, I lost my mom in 2005, and even though we grew up on the East Coast, she was obsessed with California. So I kind of grew up with, I always felt like I had a California soul. So when I started swimming, it was like, yeah, of course I want to swim Catalina. I see it every day, and I'm going to dedicate that to my mom. And then I started learning about all these swims, and it was like the Triple Crown of marathon swimming, the California Triple Crown. And I found that I was really interested in doing swims that I was emotionally connected to, and I was really emotionally connected to the California Triple Crown. So I did Anacapa in 2018, and I did Catalina in 2019, and yeah, the pandemic happened in 2020, and I had the length of Tahoe on the books, and I mean, mid-March, everything shut down, all the pools, the beaches here, everything, and I think I went through a period of like a week where I was like, I really want to do this year, and I don't want to wait, so how can I make that happen? And I just started driving down to Long Beach in Orange County every day and swimming open water without a wetsuit every day, and you know, by like April or early May, I was doing 6 hours, you know, no problem in open water. And I think 2020 was really the year that I acclimated to the cold, even though I still don't love the cold. But about a month before I swam Tahoe, I got COVID, and it was really, really bad because it was 2020 and no one knew, and no one was vaccinated, and I felt horrible. I like threw up for 10 days, and I thought, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And I went back to the ocean, and I had to have my husband like walk along the shore because I was afraid. Like I had no energy, no stamina, no nothing. I was like, how am I gonna swim 21 miles in 3 weeks? But like I was saying to someone before we started, this sport is so mental, and I wanted it so badly that I feel like I willed myself through that swim. I threw up for about half of it, but that's pretty normal for me at this point. When I swam Santa Monica Bay from Point Dume to PV, that's a 27-mile swim. It took me about 15 hours. I would say I threw up for about 12 of the 15 hours. People always ask me, like, how can you keep going when you're throwing up like that? Well, mentally, I can throw up and be uncomfortable for 12 hours or 15 hours, as long as I know that I'm gonna finish at the end. It's like the discomfort that comes with quitting, that is what I wouldn't be able to live with. So yeah, I think now I'm just about, again, like I really love to do swims that I'm emotionally connected to. I like to challenge myself in new and different ways every year. So I feel like things have been getting a little bit longer each year, a little bit more challenging each year. I'm currently training for End Wet in June, which is the longest open water race in North America. It's 36 miles in the Red River in North Dakota. I don't know what that's gonna be like, because I've never swum in a river in North Dakota, but I think it'd be pretty cool to say that I did the longest open water race in North America. And the message that I kind of want to send to all the young people here today is like, yeah, so options weren't presented to me when I was in high school. I didn't think I was good enough to swim in college. I didn't know that there were all these things out there that I could do and explore, but there are. I think like if you love swimming or you love a certain thing or a sport, you don't have to be the best at it to do it and to have that love for it forever. The competitiveness of swimming in high school, the times, the places, the winning, the losing, all that, those were things that I never loved. I didn't love competing. I just loved being in the water. And doing solo channel swims, it's like you're out there by yourself or with your crew. You're not really competing with anyone except yourself. And I really love that aspect of it. I really do love that. And I think that those of you who I know you asked me to talk about how I try and encourage the kids that I coach to be involved in the ocean. I really tried to bring them out to the ocean last year, get them in the water. We did a couple like buoy swims and things like that. I think when you don't grow, I've noticed now living in the South Bay that, you know, the ocean's in our backyard, and this is a major part of lifestyle living in the South Bay. Kids that live in mid-city or on the west side, they may only see the ocean a couple times a year, and it's not something that's in their frame of reference. So I'm trying to just tackle getting them to love swimming, getting them to love the water, getting them to understand that they can love swimming forever, and there's all these opportunities out there to do it. You don't have to, it's not about winning, it's not about going fast all the time. I'm not a fast swimmer, even now. But I can swim a long time, and that's super special and amazing because not a lot of people can do that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my story, so thank you.